Okay, so my case for chapter 6 over activism was very interesting. It was different than any of the other cases I've done, but I chose it. And so the title of it was Beyond Disgusting, Bacteria Fighting Mom Takes on the Restaurant Play Areas. So basically what happened is there was a mother and her son that stopped at a McDonald's to eat in Arizona. And on the way out, her son was walking out and he asked her if he could go and play on the playground because he saw that there was a play area there. So she let him go play, and she said as soon as they entered the play area, she noticed how disgusting it was in there. She said it was like covered in goo, and there was so much stuff on the plexiglass stuff that you couldn't even see outside of it because it was so dirty. She said there was profanity written on the slides and stuff on the inside of the playground, and just all kinds of nasty stuff. The lady's name was Erin Carr Jordan, and she was actually a professor with a PhD in psychology. And so, sorry, after seeing all the disgusting stuff that she saw at the play place, she complained to the managers on 6 different occasions. So she made it known that she had a problem with it and how dangerous it is and how nasty it is. She said that there were no changes made, but she was an activist for this and she was not going to back down. So she actually ended up going into the playground and getting swabs of different places on the playground from some of the goo and nasty stuff that she found, because one of her best friends was a microbiologist. So she had she paid about $700 for a lab analysis, and so her friend took that swabs and analyzed them and stuff. And I guess what they found on those swabs was 13 different types of opportunistic pathogens, as the book says. So all kinds of bacteria and stuff was growing in there, and just nasty. So she actually...
Could you try again?
I'm sorry, my Siri on my watch went off. So her friend, like I said, Erin's friend, she had a kid of her own. So they decided to draft a state legislation to require the health agencies to regulate the cleanliness of indoor playgrounds and stuff. So actually Erin Carr Jordan decided to go inside one of the play places and take a video. But it was like 2011, so her video, she posted it online and stuff, and it did get quite a bit of attention, but the video was kind of blurry and not super clear, but you could still tell how like nasty the play areas were. And she was just, she made, at the video, in the video, at the beginning of the video, she put a video of herself talking about how dangerous this is and all the bacteria that's living in these play areas that your children are playing in, and just kind of pointing it out, like, look, this is what your kids are playing in. And so she started out the video with her talking about that, and then of course she proceeded to put in the clip of the play area being like nasty and showing what she found. There was multiple requests to the McDonald's managers put in for them to sanitize the place, and McDonald's actually ended up responding, and the manager, or one of the owners of the McDonald's that she went to, said, look, we'll clean up the place. I will go and see over the entire process and make sure that they have sanitized the playground properly, and we'll fix this. You know, we'll clean it up and we'll make it right. So I guess Erin ended up keeping up with the sanitizing and the cleaning process of everything, and she said she went back several times and it didn't seem like they had actually really cleaned up the place very good, and it seemed like they'd done a little effort to make it look nice and cleaned up and stuff. And so because of her nonstop activism in this process, I think some of the McDonald's owners and managers got pretty frustrated with her because she was coming in always trying to swab and take videos to show how nothing was really being done to change the process. But she was so passionate about it, so she wasn't going to give up. Well, actually, one of the McDonald's, I think the McDonald's owner, ended up banning her from coming to any other McDonald's within, like, there's like 11 chains that she was not allowed to go inside in Arizona, where she's from. So it ended up being a pretty big deal. But she actually, a lot of the big news outlets picked up on the story and saw what was happening, and realized the attention that she was starting to get because of it. So she ended up going on places like CNN, Good Morning America, the Associated Press, New York Times, and she had a 6-minute interview on Fox News' Happening Now. So it was a pretty big deal back then whenever it happened, and she got a lot of media attention for it. And Erin's message was simple and straightforward, and it was just the fact that many children's play areas need to be cleaner because some of the bacteria found could pose serious health issues. And some of those bacteria were like MRSA, as bad as MRSA, and MRSA is something that can't be treated with antibiotics. So that's pretty much it. She actually ended up creating a website called Kids Play Safe, and it was dedicated to the idea of safety within the places that your kids are playing in. And actually, she created like a forum type thing where parents and other people could share posts and videos of what they had seen that was unclean, like other play areas that they'd seen that were unsafe for their children. And it was just basically a place for people to come together and talk about that and to work on change and to figure out how they were going to change this and what they were going to do, how they were going to reach out to these companies that had these nasty play areas. So places like Chuck E. Cheese, McDonald's, and Burger King ended up releasing statements talking about how they put their customers first and they focus on the safety of their customers. And that was probably a really good PR stunt for them, or a PR move for them to make. But again, Erin Carr Jordan went back to these places and kind of saw that the play places weren't really being sanitized properly, and so she was still criticizing them in that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I think nowadays, I don't know of many play areas that are still around. And I'm honestly guessing that it became such a hard, big, long, drawn-out process to clean up these play areas that restaurants eventually just said, well, we're just going to get rid of them. Because I know that after all of this happened, they had like rules set in place where they would clean the kids' play areas every 8-hour shifts. They would have to use an eco-friendly product when they were cleaning, and they had to maintain the safety of all of the equipment that the kids used. So I think that it eventually became too much of a burden for a lot of places that they just decided to get rid of those play places. But financially, Erin Carr Jordan spent about $10,000 between 2011 and 2012 when she was working on this activism and getting these swabs for the bacteria and stuff. So that is my case about nasty, dirty, beyond disgusting playgrounds.